Fallout Nuevo Mexico is an upcoming DLC-sized mod for Fallout New Vegas that you may or may not have heard of. Recently they released an 18-minute gameplay video on their YouTube channel, link in the description. And shoutouts to James on the Discord server for sharing it. About a year ago they released a trailer, but there's been a lot of changes since then. For starters, the story was going to take place in 2285, but now it's set in 2166. Which means the Master's army is gone and the Vault Dweller is probably in the beginnings of constructing Arroyo. Based on the description on their original trailer, I think we can assume that the mod is trying to take the lore-friendly approach, which means no Enclave and no Caesar's Legion either. Brotherhood of Steel, Followers of the Apocalypse, Herald making an appearance, possible I suppose, but I think a Raul cameo is more likely. A unique thing that this story is doing is giving the players the option to choose between two different characters to play as. Ambitious. Although the video gives the impression that the same locations are used and the overarching story won't feature too many differences, I assume. I hope it doesn't result in it being too ambitious, an issue I tend to see a lot with these kinds of mods. In fact, there was this one. Now, in one of the origins you play as a ghoul. I remember reading somewhere that Obsidian Entertainment wanted to give the players the ability to play either as a human, ghoul, or super mutant in New Vegas, but Bethesda strongly suggested they don't do that because of the Gamebryo engine. Bethesda suggested that it was going to be a nightmare making all the armor and weapons work with all three races. They probably had a point considering the fact that they gave Obsidian like 18 months to make the game. Given the build of a super mutant, I imagine that was the primary concern. There'd be no time to implement a whole line of super mutant specific armor for the player to use. But a ghoul? I don't see much need to change anything for a ghoul character besides the character model and how NPCs react to them. Obsidian was over here wanting to make some deeper RPG mechanics, but
ain't nobody got time for that.
Still, I wonder what kind of difficulties, if any, the mod authors ran into when adding a playable ghoul character. Being a mod, they can take things a bit further than a commercial release can. Like for example, calling the chem Morphine instead of Med-X because that's what it was originally going to be called. Although you can argue that Med-X works better within the Fallout universe. The mod author said that they want the mod to bring Fallout back to its roots. They do a decent job of showcasing such an approach. Maybe they can even bring back killing children. Yeah, you heard me. I remember one time I was playing Fallout 2, and long story short, a grenade went flying in the wrong direction. Maybe I can find myself in situations like that again. And maybe they'll even give you the child killer perk and use the original icon for it too. One section of the video also showcased some more overt sexual themes. But no, I'm not talking about Deathclaw sex, horny snake people, or feet. Just things that can be discussed, not shown, but not on YouTube.
Rhymes with grape.
Now the mod is attempting to stay lore friendly, but it does have some wiggle room when it comes to the fact that Fallout has never explored what exactly occurred to other nations outside of the United States of America. The mod takes place in parts of Mexico and the state of New Mexico. All we know about Mexico comes from Raul Tejada. It seems Mexico City was a major target when the bombs fell, and Tucson, aka Tucson, must have been relatively built up, at least by the time he got there. As you can see from the gameplay trailer, there are quite a few different settlements, with impressive amounts of infrastructure. Some of them look quite vast, putting the Strip and maybe even the entirety of Freeside to shame. There might be some lore issues I'm concerned about, like these humanoid robots looking far too advanced, or Caesar's Legion conquering these places despite all this, but maybe that'll be explained once we actually play it. So overall, this is looking pretty promising. I know that we got burned a little while back with the Frontier, but they have nothing to do with this. I took 2 shots in the vag, so let's keep an open mind. However, one of the characters you play as is called the Dreamer. And it's already giving me flashbacks.